Hey everyone, in this video I'll show you how to make your character die in your platformer game. Before you work on this, it is really important that you have your character added to each world. So when we set a new world, your character is placed on the screen where they're supposed to start. So in level 1, when I set a new level 1 here, my character appears right here because that's where I've added him to this world. If I accidentally move him and I press reset down here, he goes back because that's where he's supposed to start in this world. I've done the same thing in level 2 when I when I make a new level 2 or I add that to the screen here, my player starts where he's supposed to start. So make sure you do that ahead of time. Let's go back to level 1 here and talk about dying. We essentially need our character to die and restart at the beginning of the level when he hits things that should kill them. So in my game right now, I've added some lava right here. And to make this really easy for myself, I've actually made lava a subclass of bad guys. I want to just write the most efficient code for this. So my lava is a bad guy, but my lava doesn't move or have any hit points. So when I made my lava, if you've done the customizing bad guy work, you need to make sure that you just add this super 00 here. It actually really doesn't matter what numbers you have in here, but you do need this super line in the constructor. If you don't have that, if we like comment that out and press compile, we get an error. So you have to make sure you have that. The other time I need my player to die is when they fall off the screen. So we need to keep that in mind when we write our method. We're going to write this in the player class. And what we're going to do is also have it update our lives counter right here. So I'm going to go to the player class. And the very first thing we need to do is we need our player to remember how many lives they have. So right here, we're going to write public. And again, this needs to be static because we want our player to remember how many lives he has after he dies. So public static int lives. And then this is how many lives they're going to start with, like maybe 3. And then I always like to write this method at the very end of my player class because death should be the last thing that we do. So we're going to put this down here. I'm going to write a method that says public void death. This. And now we have our method that we're going to write here. Now, again, I've kind of tried to simplify this out in my game by making my lava a bad guy. So I'm going to just look for bad guys. Actor, bad guy, equals get one intersecting object from the bad guys class. This. So that means any bad guy I hit, it's going to look for that. Now, let's write some collision code. If the bad guys are not null, again, that means I'm hitting them. I'm not hitting them. That's what that means. What I want to do here is I need to actually think about a couple things here. The first thing I want to do is think about what happens when he dies. We need to take a life away. So lives equals lives, lives minus 1. So we need to take some lives away. After we take some lives away, we need the game to decide what happens. Does he go back to the beginning of the level? Are we at the game over screen? So inside of here, we're going to write another if that says if our lives are greater than 0, which means we should keep playing. If our lives are greater than 0, what we want to do now is put them back at the level that they should be on. So again, it gets a little bit messy, but inside of this if, we should write if we're in level 1, we want to start level 1 again. So what we're going to do is we're going to say Greenfoot dot set world a new Lagaki land 1. That is my level 1. So we're just going to set a new world, and that's going to put them back at the beginning. But if I'm in level 2, we're going to set a new world, my level 2. So we have this here, a new Ligaki Land 2. That's the name of my second level. So basically, we are just kind of going through all the scenarios here. If we hit a bad guy, take some lives away. If we have some lives left, depending on what level we're in, put them back at the beginning of the level. But if we don't have any lives left, we're going to use this if statement. We're going to put an else right here. Else, so if we have no lives left, we're going to say send them to the game over screen. Set world new game over. Like this. Okay? And basically, if we press compile, we have no errors. The only thing we need to take care of here is falling into pits. Before we do that, let's make sure that our death code works. So let's go to the act here and call death. Like this. I like to call death as the last thing we're doing. It avoids any errors in our program for order. So now we're just going to check to make sure that our bad guy code works. So if my guy falls into some lava, he should die and start over right here. So let's press run. Let's run into the lava. And he did. He hit the lava and he started over. It happened pretty fast. Maybe I want to add a timer or some sort of delay to that, but that code works. Now, if I pause this and I move my character over here and he gets hit by this ghost, he should die and start over here. And that worked too. But the last part of my dying code is what happens if he falls into this pit? Nothing. So we need to go back and add that. So let's go to my player class, go down to the death method here. And I think the easiest way to do this is to actually add a second condition to this if statement. So let's put our mouse in here. Let's use the vertical bar key, which is above the enter key if you press shift. That means or. So if we get hit by a bad guy, or, well, the other ways he can die is if his y coordinate is greater than or equal to get the world dot get the height. And I always like to subtract 1 here to make sure it works. So now it says if we get hit by a bad guy or we fall off the bottom of the world. So let's compile this. And now we can check and see. All right, if I run into the lava, do we die? Yes. If we get hit by a ghost, do we die? Yes. And if we fall into a pit, do we die? Yes. And we went to the game over screen because that was 3 lives. So that's actually some really good code. Let's go back to level 1 for a second. I have this little lives counter up here. I'm using some text from my Pong game here. If I want to display how many lives I have left, I need to go into the world. And in my act method in the world, I need to tell it to update that. So the name of my lives is lives text. I need to update that, and I'm going to update that with lives like this, and then a plus and the player dot lives. Because it's static, we can use it in here like this. If you're not sure how this part works, there are videos in the Pong playlist that can help you with this. So press compile, and we come back here. I should do this in all my levels, but now when I press run, it says I have 3 lives left. And now I can die in the lava, I can die in the pit, I can die in the lava again. And now we are in this game over screen, and if I want to play again, I get put back into the level, but look at this. I have 0 lives. I have 0 lives. And that's kind of a glitch that we have here. So the best way to fix this is in our game over screen. And we need to reset our player lives if we're going to play again. So lives equals 3. Compile that. Let's recompile our whole scenario and press run. So we die in the lava. We die in the pit. We die by the ghost. We get to the game over screen. I'm not going to press reset down here. I'm going to press spacebar. We play again and we have 3 lives.